Well, that went about exactly as expected. The Cleveland Browns finished the season with the worst record in the NFL and have already sacked multiple coaches. Well, here's to next year, I suppose. So, the Ravens absolutely bludgeoned the Browns 35-10 en route to securing their fourth AFC North title since 2018. We all laughed at the 20-point spread going into this game. And the Browns lost by 25, so they couldn't even cover the spread. Remember, guys, the bookies always win. Just a fitting end to a bitterly disappointing season. The most disappointing season since reactivation, in my opinion. 3-14, worst record since the 0-16 season in 2017. Just brutal stuff, man. I can't say it enough, but let's be real. Did anyone actually want the Browns to win this game? A win would have been pretty meaningless. Yet would have taken you out of a top 3 pick and, could have possibly handed the Steelers the division. Thankfully, the Steelers lost anyway, as they usually do in January. But still, I said in the preview that this was the first game in my entire fandom where I actually preferred the Browns to lose. It was a very weird experience for me. I've never rooted for my team to lose any game in any scenario in any sport before. So this was certainly a first for me. And I still found myself, cheering the Bailey Zappi touchdown. Not even the team wanted to win this one, to be honest, which was pretty obvious with how they approached the game. So they did their part. They secured a top 3 pick in the 2025 NFL draft. They still technically have a chance at the number 1 pick. It's not looking too likely as of time of recording. By the time that you're watching this, you'll probably know the outcome of those results and where the Browns will be picking. Unfortunately, I think the Titans are currently losing as we speak, heading into the fourth quarter. The Patriots are currently winning by 1 point, also going into the fourth quarter as of recording. So it's looking like probably the second or the third pick, but who knows? Hey everyone, it's Oliver here from the editing room. Turns out Patriots were able to hold on, win their game. The Titans lost, so the Browns will be picking second overall in the 2025 NFL Draft. There's also a potential hilarious scenario tonight, where the Bengals don't make the playoffs, despite Burrow and Chase putting up Brady and Randy Moss numbers. Either a Broncos or Dolphins win tonight will keep them out. And again, by the time you're watching this, you'll probably know the outcome of those results and whether or not they made it. Now, whilst I might sound like a massive hater right now, I don't care. My team is 3-14. I've been on hate watch most of the year because what else can I do, man? This is where we're at, guys. No point hiding from it. You are what your record says you are. And the record says we're the worst team in the NFL. So embrace it. Hope for a bit of luck today, with these results going into the final quarter, and then go from there. I'm sure Black Monday we'll see a few more guys lose their jobs. We've already seen guys, lose jobs on what is now Black Sunday in Ken Dorsey and Andy Dickerson. And obviously we'll talk about that and any more that happen. But, for now, just enjoy this final Sunday slate of the NFL season and, let's see where we end up picking in the draft and go from there. And for one last time this season, let's talk about another Browns loss, get back on track. I'll try and make this quick because this was pretty bad, even for the 2024 Cleveland Browns standards. So instead, I'll just try and give a quick summary of this game. The Browns' first 4 offensive drives resulted in 2 punts, a pick 6, and a turnover on downs. Bailey Zappi threw the ball practically straight to Nate Wiggins, who jumped the route, read the play perfectly. However, the defense did initially hold out for a little bit, forcing a punt and a turnover on downs themselves. The Ravens scored the first offensive touchdown of the game in the second quarter on a 12-yard touchdown pass to Mark Andrews, who continued his streak of 6 consecutive games now with a touchdown, so heating up at the right time for the Ravens. The Browns responded with their first points after a couple of nice throws from Zappi and some penalties on the Ravens that got the Browns to 1st and goal. at the Ravens 10, but they ultimately settled for a field goal, something I'm sure Kevin doesn't do in most other circumstances. The Browns defense continued their good first half with 2 more fourth down stops to close out the half at 14-3. The Ravens did then score on their first drive coming out of the half after a 7-play, 70-yard drive, which included multiple big runs from Derrick Henry and was capped off by a 7-yard touchdown pass to Bateman, which Lamar did a Steph Curry and did the look away and celebrated before Bateman had even caught it. It would have looked pretty cold if it wasn't against my team. But both teams then traded multiple punts before the Browns scored their only touchdown of the game after a 12-play, 6-minute drive, which resulted in a great throw from Zappi to Jordan Akins at the left pylon for a 16-yard touchdown. Derrick Henry and the Ravens then leaned up in their chairs, got serious, put this game to bed with back-to-back touchdown drives, one resulting in a 2-yard touchdown and the other in a 43-yard touchdown run for the birthday boy, Derrick Henry. At this point, he was just running all over the Browns, who, just looked ready for the season to end. The same could be said for the offense as well, who, also did nothing else in this game other than produce one of the funniest interceptions I've ever seen after Bailey Zappi threw the ball straight to 350-pound Michael Pierce, who had the chance for a big return, but instead hilariously took the knee and just said, "Nah, I'm good here." Was pretty funny to watch, provided some humour in this game. The Ravens then punted the ball back with 30 seconds left. Bailey Zappi took a knee, and that was the Browns' 2024 season over. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that there's really anything we can take from this game. There isn't. If anything, all this game really showed me was that Bailey Zappi might actually be better than DTR, which, to be honest, isn't exactly a hard thing. The defense played hard, in my opinion, but ultimately, as with most games this season, the Browns' non-existent offense just proved too much for them to overcome. They held Lamar Jackson to 217 yards passing on just 50% completion percentage. And, they initially did a good job limiting Derrick Henry in the first half. But, then he just kind of went off in the second half. And at that point, the game was kind of already out of reach. So again, I've said it all year. This defense deserves by far the least amount of blame for this season. I do hope that Jim Schwartz is back next year. I really do. This defense works. Put a competent offense alongside them, and this team wins 8 or 9 games. Unfortunately, Miles did not get a sack in this game, and after Trey Hendrickson's monster game against the Steelers last night with 3.5 sacks, Miles will not finish the year as the joint sack leader, something he's surprisingly never actually done in his career, despite being the youngest player in NFL history to 100 career sacks. And in even more unfortunate news, Mike Hall Jr., who was having a fantastic rookie season, blew out his right knee in this game, which required the cart to come out, and an air cast was applied, to his leg. Just brutal. Waiting on the MRI results, but hopefully that doesn't impact and take him out for next year, because he, as I said, he was having a brilliant rookie season and was putting together a really encouraging rookie year, as I said, and I was really excited about what he could do moving forward. So hopefully not as serious as it looks, and obviously we'll report on the news as we get it. The Browns' offense was once again non-existent, but I'm not going to scold an offense which had Bailey Zappi at quarterback and Jacob Kabodi taking snaps at running back. An already awful offense that was missing multiple guys. It's safe to say I wasn't expecting much more than 10 points anyway. We've spoken all year about this side of the ball. So much to address in the off-season. The quarterback position, the run game, the offensive line, the pass catchers, hell, the whole scheme needs scrapping. Whilst it is a bad situation to be in, it does provide some form of an intrigue as to what they will do to address it. The draft, free agency, we're certainly going to have a lot to talk about in the off-season. Now, as any of my subscribers know, I never like to end these reviews on a negative, and certainly not for the last game of the season. I said, after the Bengals game that Judy needed 17 receptions in the last 2 games to equal Ozzie Newsome's record for the most receptions in a season by a Browns player. He got 18, 12 against Miami and 6 in this game. Despite the abysmal quarterback play in his first season for the Browns, Judy has set the franchise record for the most receptions in a season with 90, 1,229 yards, the 5th most in a season in Browns history, just 21 yards shy of Amari Cooper's 2023 campaign, and just 60 yards shy of Braylon Edwards' 2007 campaign. I'll be honest, I feel somewhat vindicated as someone that got quite a bit of stick on social media in the off-season for saying that I liked the Judy extension at the time. I couldn't be happier with Judy's performances this season. It was obvious that the Browns were betting on Judy, becoming a high-end number 2 with the potential to replace Amari Cooper as the wide receiver 1 going forwards, and they paid him as such. I know a lot of people don't like to admit it, but $17 million a year in today's NFL is wide receiver 2 money. And not only did Judy, establish himself as a high-end, second option, he cemented himself as the Browns wide receiver 1 going forward, in my opinion. Money aside, it's great that the Browns have a young wide receiver 1. Cooper was brilliant for us, but he was getting on a bit in age. The Browns had to get younger at the position, and they did. And of course, money included. $17 million a year for a wide receiver 1 is pennies on the dollar and fantastic business from the Browns. I know some people might not want to hear this right now, but I do think it's important in regards to moving forward as well. The Browns only have 2 wide receivers rostered next season with more than 5 career receptions. They have a lot of work to do in that room. By having your wide receiver 1 on $17 million a year, you give yourself a lot more flexibility when it comes to addressing that room. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you could technically add a T. Higgins to this room because of the money that they've saved on Judy. It's great business, and I am a firm believer that, if we can criticize a team for what they've done wrong, then we can, at least praise them for what they've done right. And this is certainly something they've done right. Hell of a season from Judy, and excited to see what he can do moving forward as the Browns wide receiver 1. And finally, whilst things might feel pretty hopeless right now, they really do, but I do think it's pretty important to stress that whilst you're never as close as you think you are in the NFL, you're also never as far away as you think you are. A lot of people thought this Browns team was close to being true contenders this year, and they finished the season with the worst record in the NFL. Teams have appeared light years away from competing and managed to turn things around in just a year or 2. It's the nature of the NFL. It's what makes it so successful, in my opinion, because it's arguably the closest thing you can get to an equal playing field. The Browns have been bad this year, just absolutely dreadful, and it appears as if they're light years away, mainly because of the Deshaun Watson contract, hindering the team. But, and I'm not just saying this to make myself feel better, I just don't believe the Browns are as screwed as people would make it out. Yes, they have a difficult situation to navigate out of, but as I've said all year and will continue to make videos on about in the off season, I do think there are paths for the Browns to at least be competitive over the next few years as they move on from Watson and change the direction moving forwards. I'm going to be getting people much smarter than me on my channel during the off season to help me talk about the different options the Browns can take moving forward. But for now, I just think it's important to remember that as bad as it appears, and it does look pretty bad, you are never actually as far away as you think you are in the NFL. So much to talk about in the off season, guys, both good and bad. There's going to be a lot of changes. We've seen a few already with the Dorsey and Dickerson firings. Nearly slipped up there. But, I'm sure we will see some more as well. But regardless of what happens, Still plenty of things to look forward to. Hate watching during the playoffs, free agency, the draft, so much more. I look forward to talking about all of it as it happens right here on this channel with all of you amazing people. But that will do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for supporting me during my first season talking Cleveland Browns football here on YouTube. It's been amazing to interact with so many Browns fans from all over the world, and I cannot wait to meet more and more fans as I continue this journey. As I said, just because the season is over doesn't mean that I'm going anywhere. I'll be here talking Browns football every week as we try our best to fill the void left by our favourite football team not playing football for what feels like 100 years, but is actually about 6 to 8 months. So guys, if you do enjoy my content, then please drop this video a like, hit the subscribe button. It's free and it really helps out my channel. You can also check the links in the description to see where you can connect and interact with me on social media. I'm trying to build a community of Cleveland Browns fans, and as I always say, even if I only get to talk to one fan a day, I'm happy because I'm talking Browns football with the best fan base in the world. Thanks again for watching. Have a great week, and most importantly, go Browns.